Okay, so welcome back. So apologies for the break. So like I was saying, I want us to look at some examples of productizing. So for example, let's say that I am a business consultant or I am a freelance coach, for example. Okay. And apart from my coaching service, I decided to productize a particular product that I want to sell, which is something that I intend to do in the near future. I intend to do as many courses as possible to be able to guide people to start all kinds of business, to be able to guide people to solve all kinds of problems, especially using the ones that I have utilized. So if I've utilized it and it worked for me, I should be able to put them into a product and sell to people and tell people how to do it the same way that I have done it that has worked for me. Or whatever it is I have. So let's say, for example, I'm a freelance consultant or I'm a marketing consultant, for example, and I'm able to come up with a course or an ebook that would show you or that wants to show you how to sell to your first 100 clients as a small business. Now, this solution will teach you how to market your business effectively, but then it will be more specific about showing you how you can get your first 100 clients within a particular period of time. So let's say I want to show you how you can get your first 100 clients in 90 days, for example, which is very possible. And like I said, because I would try to do it, I can show you exactly how I did it. I can show you evidences of how I did it, and I can show you the processes of how I did it. Now, this would be me productizing a skill or an information that I have. And that's why I'm saying that when it is very specific to the problems that it solves, you would have succeeded in productizing. So in your value pack, whatever service that you're going to be offering, please make it very specific to the person who needs that service or that problem. Let them be sure what they get, what is the output that they get from utilizing that particular service, that product, or whatever it is you're offering. So let's say, for example, I'm also a web designer, and I want to be able to teach you on a couple of webinar series because, for example, we can have a live web design class, right? But I can choose to also do a webinar or do a training series and show you step by step, maybe in 6 to 7 or 5 to 7 different steps, what you need to do to get a website to come on live. I can tell you, do a first video, for example. These are things that I also know personally, but I'm not an expert in it. I just learned them because I need them for my business. I can tell you the first thing you need to do is to register a domain name. When you get a domain name, you get a hosting from a website. I can show you how you can buy that to start with. It's as simple as just getting an email registered, right? I can show you how you can get a domain name, which is a simple process, how to get your hosting, how to put a coming soon on your web page. Once you now go on to WordPress to start, designing your website, I can show you how you can start with the About Us, how you can start with the products and services, how you can start with, all the other things, until you get to the final stage and launch the website and get it to come live. Now, so a web designer can do this webinar series and show to you how you can get away. So you don't have to pay anybody. So if, for example, it will cost you an average 100,000 to get a web designer to develop a website for you, I can sell this course for you for 10,000, for example. So it might probably just cost you another 10 or 20,000 to get a domain name and a host. That way you are able to save 100,000. The only difference here is that you get to do it yourself. Now, for some freelancers or for some small business owners, they don't mind to spend that 1 or 2 days to get it done themselves. If some of them prefer so they can choose the kind of colors that resonate well with them. They can choose the kind of pictures and graphics that resonate. They will be able to navigate it themselves so that by the time they begin to integrate their website or use their website for a more detailed business transaction and all that, they would know how to navigate it themselves and they don't have to be looking for somebody who will help them. These are some of the things that as business owners, as freelancers, we must know. Some of you need to have landing pages. We will get to that point. The reason we're talking to you mostly about Facebook, about WhatsApp, because these are the primary platforms. But that does not mean that some of you will not get to the point where you need to have a landing page. Your landing page could be, for example, elizabethlerden.com. Somebody wants to buy something about what you're offering, they can come there and register there. And you're able to get the data in your, that's me just digressing basically. So I can productize this particular service, for example. So for somebody like Vivian, who says, I have been working for schools. Now I want to have my own school. In fact, the goal for some of you who are teachers may be to grow from a freelancer tutor to a place where you can have a learning center, to a place where you can run it into a full-fledged school. That's the essence in some cases for freelancers. The essence is to start small and start growing. If you are persistent, you can get to a point where it turns into a full-fledged business if that's what you want. If you don't want that, you can still maintain your freelancing status for as long as you want, because you want the independence and the freedom to work from anywhere and service anyone from anywhere. So if, for example, you want to create a home tutor package for people who want to write a particular exam. Some people these days, they're helping people who want to write English exams. They want to write ITL, what do you call them? TOEFL, all those English exams that are required for people who want to travel abroad, for example. Some people's focus are on those. Some people's focus are on those guys who want to write WAEC. Some people's focus are on 100 level students. Some students even do this as freelancers. They can be students themselves and they're offering tutoring service as well. So if you're a teacher and you say, oh, I'm tired of going to work, I want to use the next 30 days to find, I want to use the next 30 days to find, I want to use the next 30 days to find 10 children in my neighborhood based off of my teacher experience and career. I can put together a promotional material and go from house to house. Or I can go to my church, or I can find a platform, maybe a WhatsApp platform if I live in an estate, for example, and share my flyer and tell working moms that if you put to bed and you cannot go to work with your children and they are 3 months, they are 6 months, you can bring them to my house, give me 50,000 every month from your salary. I can take care, I have space. One room can take care of 5 children, 10 children. That's you starting a business from the comfort of your home. It might not necessarily be freelancing, but it's almost relative, right? So you can offer that sort of service. If, for example, you want to offer a childminder service, okay? Some of you might even, in case you don't have the capacity to do marketing, which is nothing. In fact, one of the things I actually encourage you, marketing is, you must do. Tinubu is the marketer. Tinubu is president, he's a marketer. Didn't you hear him say it? That he's the chief marketer of his country. So if you are a business person, you're a freelancer, you say you don't want to do marketing, they play. Because you must tell people about your products. Even when you have somebody who is a marketer in you get the business grows and it becomes a full-fledged business. Marketing you must do. So if you are running for marketing, I don't know how. Like Martha keeps saying, anything about marketing I didn't know. You must do, because you must tell people about the services that you offer. Okay. So productization is a key strategy in creating and running a service-based business. So if you want to do a service-based business, you must productize them, because again, they are not tangible service. And that's the more reason why it must be productized, so that the people who are paying you for it will be able to see why they are paying you. And then you should be able to explain to them the outcome that they get from subscribing to whatever service or solution that you offer. So let's say another example, say an automobile mechanic who has a mechanic workshop somewhere can decide to say, or even if he doesn't have a mechanic workshop, he can decide to say, my own mechanic work is basically for home service. So every Saturday, you don't have to come to any mechanic workshop, just call me. I'll come to your place, do the servicing, change the oil, and even provide any engineering service, reservice. There's some mechanic who do not have to be worried about having a shop. All he needs to have is a kit, maybe his working kit, and he can offer that service as a freelance mechanic, and he's doing just well. And that's why I keep telling you that freelancing is not only about digital service. Freelancing is not only about virtual service. Freelancing can actually happen within your community, okay, depending on the service that you offer. So I'm using these illustrations to give you the fact that any service can be offered as freelance, as a freelance service. So an entrepreneur who owns, for example, a logistics business, and again, one of the things I must tell some of you is that owning a logistic business, you don't necessarily have to have vehicles, neither do you have to have machines or bikes or whatever. You can't be the middleman who provides logistics service. All you need to do is create the atmosphere, the skills, the marketing skills to let the people know, hey, you want to deliver anything every day to anywhere, I can help you move it from point A to B. You can liaise with 1, 2, 3, 4 delivery men and tell them, every day come to my house, or every evening come, I have 10 deliveries for you. If 500 naira, a place like Lagos, this kind of thing will work effectively, because people are moving things from one place to another every day in Lagos. You don't necessarily have to have the bikes. And you necessarily have to have the vehicles. Some people even want to deliver to another state. All you need to do is just to get the contact. Tell the people who work in the transport company that, see, every month I'm bringing XYZ number of delivery for you. Instead of charging me 2,000, I'll give you 1,000 per pack. Meanwhile, you've charged the clients 2,000 or even 2,005. You can create a business for that. That is you being a freelancer logistics person or logistics professional, whatever it is you want to call yourself. So you can offer that, okay? So a freelancer can choose to offer monthly, I already mentioned that one, maths classes only for people who want to just learn only maths. I've said that that's a need, but it's a personal need, actually. So let's look at a few more tips. I think we've really tried to talk about tips. We looked at some example, we even looked at some tips, but let's still see if we can look at a few more tips on that. So formulating the terms of service, include defining the terms and conditions of the service will be rendered. So one of the things you must do is to ensure that in your freelancing service, you are clear about the terms of service. Like I said, the client know exactly what they get at the end of the service. So if they had this problem before, what is the outcome of what is the solution going to provide? What will be the outcome that the solution will provide? Okay. And what period of time, within what period of time are you going to be able to offer this service? So be sure to just maximize, as much time. And another thing you must also take note again of is the fact that if you're going to be offering a service, for example, to a one-on-one client, if, for example, maybe you make hair and you don't want to work in a salon and you want to do a home-based service, it means that if you're going to make one client's hair, sometimes it might take you 2 hours, it might take you 3 hours, it might take you 4 hours. You also want to be very conscious about time so that you can know how many clients you can offer that service to per day, per week, and all that. So that's something you also want to consider. So generally speaking, like I said, productization actually allows you to standardize the method of creating your product and how you're going to distribute it, okay? How you're going to distribute your skill, your intellectual property, your intellectual capital, to the different clients, and basically get paid for it. So before we close, let's look at some of the steps that you can use, or some of the things that you should focus on when you're trying to productize your service. So the goal is to take an expertise or capacity and package it in a way that it earns revenue repeatedly. I should underline that. So repeatedly, the service has to offer, it has to raise revenue repeatedly. So one of the things that you must want to do is to focus on your niche. Like I said, my assignment to you today will be for you to dump all your capabilities, all your gifts, all your talents, all your skills. But by the time you identify that 1 or 2 things that you want to do, I would strongly recommend 1. But if you chose to do 2, fine. But if you chose 1, you have to focus on that niche and make sure you keep doing that thing repeatedly to ensure that you generate revenue in that area repeatedly. One of the other things that you must take note of is that you must understand your client's needs. Don't assume that this is what your clients need. You must understand that they know their pain points and they have communicated it to you that this is what they need. So in whatever solution that you are providing, make sure that you are meeting the needs of the clients. Don't try to say you assume this is what they want. If you are assuming, because I've had a lot of people who actually tailors, or it depends on what you're offering, even handymen, mechanics, all kinds of people, they would deliver something that does not exactly solve the problem, and they would just leave you to it. Sometimes some of them will even assume or behave as if they assume that what they gave you is what you need. So you must make sure you understand the pain points of your clients and that the solution that you're providing solves their problem. You must set yourself apart. If people complain about a particular way this particular service is being delivered in that community, in that area, wherever it is you live, even if it's an online community, there's something that you must do differently. You must make sure that you set yourself apart from what everybody else is doing. Now, after you have provided this value or this service, one of the things that we strongly recommend that you do is to review your value. So even after you've delivered it, you want to watch to see how the consumer is consuming it. Do they have any complaint? Is there anything you need to review? Is there anything you need to do differently? This is something you want to check, okay? Then you want to also check if you have any kind of support system. If you provide this service and there's something you cannot do by yourself, let's say, for example, you provide web design service and maybe there's some bug that usually disrupts your service. Some of you might not know, but there are sometimes when you design a website, but certain things does not appear well because there are some bugs and you don't have an idea how to fix those bugs because you don't know how to work around codes and all that, you might have to find somebody else who will provide you that support. Sometimes it can be your colleague, they can be your superior, but you have to always check with your support system to make sure that those guys who should provide the support to make sure that the service that you're offering works optimally, that you are in touch with them. One of the other things that you must do, and I try to do this as often as I can, you want to ask your best customers. There are some customers who are just attached to you because they like you, because there's something that makes them attached to you. They would be able to give you their honest opinion and insights about the service that you offer. Some of the other clients, if you don't satisfy their needs, they may walk away. They might never call you. Some of them might never even complain. But those best customers who are close to you may be able to give you insights. They will tell you how you should do things a little differently. They will tell you what they didn't really like. They will tell you what could have been better. So you want to make sure that you're engaging with your customers and getting insights from them about what you can do better. In fact, I do this. Some of you who are our associates, even only yesterday, I woke up thinking about, oh, this is our training that we want to ask people to pay for certification. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should find a way. And I speak to you guys, and some of you in a simple WhatsApp poll agreed, but none of you said it. If I didn't ask you, nobody recommended it to me. And that's how some customers can be. And these are some of the reasons why you must put your head to the ground. You'll be amazed that you are doing something wrong, but nobody's saying it. Some people might not say it because they think it will hurt you. The other day, there was a controversy about Erasmus or whatever tomatoes of a lady who gave a review that was almost taken to court and her life was almost in shambles because she gave a bad review. Because people feel that giving bad reviews can hurt producers or entrepreneurs or the owners of these products' feelings, sometimes they don't want to comment. The only comment sometimes that they are forced to give is good reviews, even when they are not satisfied sometimes. So you want to make sure that you're engaging with your customers so that the honest ones who are close to you are telling you what you need to do. You'll be amazed that there are so many things you can do to improve on the service so that you can continue to have repeat customers only if you speak to your client. You also want to talk to other people in your industry. So if there are other competitors, sometimes competition should not always be fight, fight, fight. If somebody else is doing similar things that you're doing, you want to interact with them. Sometimes you just even want to play around how their mind is working. Play around the sort of colors they are using. Just play around all kinds of things. Engage with them. Be friends with them. You can still compete in a healthy manner. But talking to them, they might just mention one thing, like Vivian said today, that every day we come to class, there's just one thing that you will hear and it will help you turn things around. That's how talking to your industry colleagues or people in your industry will say one thing that they thought you knew or that you've never heard that will just help you turn your business around as well. Then finally, you want to test your setup and optimize your flow. So by the time you start offering these services very well, or if there's the initial time, you want to make sure that you set it up in a way that you can optimize it to see, like I said, just basically improve on it, make sure it's better. If there is any knots that needs to be added here, if there is any value added that needs to be done there, or whatever it is that you need to do. For example, some of you finish if you're a mechanic, you finish fixing the customer's car. Making an arrangement for somebody to help you wash the car after fixing the car when there are stains and dirt on it, you'll be amazed at how much the customer will come out and see his car sparkling clean, fixed and sparkling clean, and how much you'll be willing to top up even beyond what you expended in trying to clean the car. Some of these things are optimization, they are value added. You never know how these things can improve on your products and, make customer, ensure that you gain customers' retention, so to speak. So to summarize, there are a few things that you should just try to do before, once you're trying to productize your service. First of all, you have to do some research. Whenever they say research, doesn't have to be anything bogus. It just has to be with maybe asking your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your whoever around. Tell them, this is what I want to do. Now, I've told you I'm going to give you an assignment to idea dump today. But whilst you are doing that, don't think that your only ideas or your only skill or your only solution is all that the world needs. That the moment you just give that idea or that solution, the whole world will be happy. No. Make sure you research. Find out the people who are already in that industry. What are they selling? What are they already doing? What can you do differently? So research is the number one thing. Then the next thing you want to do is to now start designing. In design, you need to understand why you're offering that service. So who has the problem? What exactly is the problem? why do they need any sort of solution, and what solution do they even need? So you need to know the why you're doing that and the what. So the what is, what exactly is the solution you're going to be providing, and how exactly is that solution going to solve their problem? By the time you're able to understand the why and the what, and you're able to use that to design your product or to develop your product or your service, then you want to build your service package. So let me give you an example of what a service package could look like. So for example, I keep using the tutoring service. So if you decide that you want to offer a tutoring service, maybe it's an after-school service, and you want to offer maths lesson, by the time you say, I'm not saying it has to be maths, because again, you have to know the environment that you're in and know what is needed. And that's the reason why the research is important. You need to know what is the problem in the environment, what sort of solution would they need. So if you have figured it out, when you decide that this is exactly what it is, you already established the why. The why is the fact that you know that having to fail maths, which is a normal thing for most, especially for girls. In fact, some of you, it will amaze you that it will make sense to say that you're offering math classes for only girls. That's how specific your product will be. You'll be amazed that you are. Some of you would think that the more narrow it is, the more less customers you have. It's not true. Sometimes the more specific you are about who your market is, it is the more that you're going to get customers. Imagine that you say, I'm offering math classes for girls. Do you know how many girls will come there? They'll be excited that there are other girls like them who don't know math, which is a norm. It's a normal thing for many of us girls. For me, when I was doing WAEC, the only thing I dreaded was that if I just go there, I just do this math once, we cannot do them again. And that's exactly what happened for me. So if you decide that you want to offer tutoring service and you're offering it to only girls, for example, you can now say things like, say the features of this math class will be that write WAEC only once, for example, right? Or write WAEC on one try. Okay, that would be like a feature. Math class is already a benefit because, I mean, the fact that you're coming to do math lesson means that you've established that you have a problem in maths, right? So the benefit is that you're coming to learn how to do maths, how to solve maths problem when you want to write exam. Then the features could be things like write WAEC or write maths WAEC exam only once, for example. That could be, I mean, I can go on and on if I sit down to think about the kind of features that I want to have when I'm designing that service package, for example. And that's what you should do. And like I said, I might not be able to know specifically what problems you're trying to solve within your community, but you must be able to clearly build that package in a way that it is clear the problem you want to solve. The benefits and the features of that particular service or that problem you want to solve is very clear. So that anybody who's seeing it already knows that this is addressing the pain points that I need or the thing that I need. In fact, a mother will see that kind of flyer and will say, hey, my daughter, I know that must be your problem. Oh yeah, come and enroll for this class. That sort of thing can happen. Pricing is very key. You want to make sure that you're not overpricing, you're not underpricing. In fact, in the early days of your business, the lower the price, the better. By the time you get a handful of clients and you don't have too much, or you don't have space for too much anymore, you can up the price. Like, for example, having a monthly subscription of math classes every month for 10,000 and your target market or your number is 20 per class, that's not a bad idea. I know that 10,000 is nothing anymore in Nigeria. If 20,000 is the best unit cost to offer that, then you can do that. Though again, you don't want to offer a cost that will be difficult for the target markets to pay. If this 10,000 every month and the father from his salary can easily give his daughter, why not? If you know that if you make it 20,000 and you know the reality of the environment that you are in, they will struggle to pay. Of course, you already know that you're doing your business a disservice. So instead of taking from 5 people 20K, then that again though is up to you to choose, because some people would prefer to have lesser number, okay, and more price so that they will have lesser stress to manage. Some people will decide to have more number and less price. So you are the one who will decide how you want to package the product and for who exactly you're looking for, and how you can make sure that the pricing is exactly what would sell that product and you will get value and the clients will also get the value. By the time you've done this, you've done the research, you've designed it, you've built the package, you know the features and the benefits, you've set a price, then start selling. Start putting it out there. Put them in a WhatsApp group. Put them in your church WhatsApp group. Put them in your community WhatsApp group. Put them in, go to the schools near you. Talk to the PTA head in the school. Tell him you're offering some value for their students and that they should please help you put this in the group of their students, or however. You just figure out where your people are. The last class that we had, the question was for you to find your people. If you have not been able to find your people, if you've designed the product, or even before you design the product, you don't know where your people are, the people who are going to buy it are, you are not in business, because you don't want to be selling to anybody. That's why you have to be more specific as to who you are going to be selling to, because it will save you less stress if you know the people who actually do need your product and you design the product specifically to meet their pain points. Okay? When you start selling, start monitoring. What are people saying? Are they grumbling? Are they murmuring? Are they lagging their feet? Are they excited? Do they think I'm getting value? I like to hear things like, I got more value than I paid for whenever I sell anything. When I hear that, it's sweet in my ear. And I wish that as many of you will also imbibe that strategy to say, when people pay you for their service, they are excited to want to pay you more because they believe that they got more value. I think that's something you want to, think about. So monitor to see what people are saying and get their review. Like I said, even just yesterday, I interacted with a small group of people, the guys in the challenge, and I asked a question. Should we offer this for free? I was amazed at the feedback. Out of 21 people who voted, I'll be 20 people, 18 said we should make it free. So which means that they've been thinking about it, but nobody gave any review or made any comments until I asked. So take review. When you do the class in month 1, ask the students, what do they think? Some of them will not lie to you. And even if some lie to you, the largest number of people will tell you exactly what it is. And that way, you are able to now know what to do to either redesign the program or review it and see what you can change and what you cannot change. So to end, first thing, like I said, I want you to do is go home now or sit at home tonight, tomorrow. I want you to start by listing, first of all, productizing it. Call it a name. What exactly is that product? Is it cleaning services for bachelors? Is it cooking service for this? You know what it is. Is it writing services, research services for who? My brother the other yesterday who told me I'm a writer. I'm a research person. For who are you writing? I am a writer. I am a business writer. So I develop business profile. So it means that any business who exists, who has a need for a business profile, I can do a 20-pager business profile for them, and I can ask them to pay me 500,000, depending on the quality of how I write it and the number of years of experience that I have. I can write business proposals for people, 2 10-pager, and they pay me 50, 100, depending on what I charge them. I can do business plan. I can even ask for as much as ₦1 million for business plan. It just depends on who I'm writing for and the level of work that is involved in it. So you know the service that you're offering. So if you say you're going to be offering writing services, research service, for who? Let us know exactly. For me, for example, I write for medium businesses. I know them. I know where to find them. I find their emails. There are people who are on the internet, and I tell them, I've even reviewed some of your materials, and I think that if we do it this way, it can be better, that sort of thing. So list all the features and the benefits of your service. Write them anyhow. Don't be worried about how you write them. It is when you write them from the anyhow that you write them that we're going to be able to find the best takes out of the anyhow. So list all the features of what you want to offer. List all the benefits, okay? By the time you write those ones down, you're going to be clear on how you offer the service from start to finish. Where do they come to meet you? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be in your house? Is it going to be in a school? Is it going to be somewhere in their own houses? If it's a logistics business, are you going to meet them in their house? If it's auto mechanic service, are they going to come to your workshop? Like that. By the time you do all this, you're able to have a clear idea of the description of the service, how you're going to offer it. Then we're going to develop a promotional material. By the time we develop a promotional material, this promotional material will now be specific, few words. Some people, they want to do flyers. They will write everything inside the flyer. Yes, it's okay, because when people see the flyer, they want more information, but they don't have to have all the information in one flyer. The caption should say exactly what you offer. And when it attracts the kind of people you need, then you can now tell them specifically. But even in the caption, you can write something that gives them an idea of exactly what it is you're selling or what it is you're trying to propose to them. And thereafter, they would decide to say, oh, let me make more inquiries about this thing and see if it's something that suits me. And in fact, the more inquisition or the more inquiry or the more questions you leave in the mind, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes has an advantage, because by the time you leave many questions, they will be forced to come to you to get those answers. And when you get that opportunity to meet them, you now get an opportunity to also convince them, okay, and scale that person and see how you can close, because if you don't leave some questions, they will not become leads. The reason they are leads is because they want to know more about the products or the services. I'm not saying that in all cases it works, because there are some people who, when they don't get clarity, they just walk away. So you have to be strategic about how you go about doing. And like I said, all of these things that we're learning here, they are things that I'm hoping that as we stay close in the community that we have, every day we're going to be rubbing up on each other, and we're going to be learning, these things one after the other. So on the final note, remember, the value proposition or the problem that you solve must be evident, it must be realistic, and it must be as clear as possible for people to be able to pay a recurring fee for it. So this is the end of my presentation. I'm sorry that I took so long today. This is almost past 10. This is 10:30 already. An hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes. So I'm so sorry about that. If you have any questions, I can let one or two persons say a thing or two. I know I've said a lot today, but if there's anything that resonates with you, any questions you have, you want to ask, and then we can close. Thank you very much. Mama? I'm almost done. I'm coming. Anyone has something they want to say? Any question? Any question? Any comments? Please go ahead. We have 5 minutes only. Yes, Benga Adeboye. Go ahead.
Good evening, ma. Thank you for this beautiful presentation. God will continue to increase your wisdom, ma. Please, I just want to, as you have explained value proposition and value pack, and as you have explained it, ma. Let's say in talk of somebody as a real estate agent or as a realtor, how can someone use this? This value proposition at least in order to be able to get prospects for people to buy, land, properties, and some other thing like that. That's yes, ma'am.
There are so many ways. There are 1,001 ways, actually. It's up to you now to carve a niche. We cannot overemphasize on niche enough, because in every industry there is a niche. If you are selling lands, you are selling property, you need to carve a niche. People need to know what sort of people should buy from you. Is it the low budget people? For example, I have a dream to have a mass housing unit in Nigeria in the near future when I've made a lot of money, right? I want to be able to have low cost housing for people who have as little as 10 million naira to be able to invest in a property, because when I was growing up, one of the major challenges I saw my parents had was not being able to own their own property early enough. You can choose in the real estate business to say, I'm going to sell only luxury properties. I'm going to sell properties for only mid-income people. I'm going to sell properties for low-income people. You cannot be everywhere. It is when you are sure of which niche market, which target market that you are in, then you're able to develop a publicity material that targets those people. But if you're a real estate person who wants to sell to the rich, to the poor, to the middle class, you are going to get frustrated because it's not going to be clear who exactly you're targeting. That's the first tips that I would give to you. There are several other things that you can actually do. You can decide to focus on land only. You can decide to focus on house only. Some people, I insist, think that by the time you reduce your variety, you would not get the clients. You would get even more. So focus on one thing. If it is only land, stay on land and say, I have land for people who have 1 million naira. You'll be amazed that there will be 100 people who come to you every month because they have 1 million naira that they want to buy land. Do you get the point? So in terms of value proposition, pricing can come in, a niche market can come in, payment plans can come in. Like I said, I can give you 10 different things. Maybe if you chat me on WhatsApp, I can tell you 10 different things that you can do to streamline your niche market in the real estate, and you focus on that. I am interested in that market, but I want to come when I'm ready. I'm fully ready to publicize, the sort of unique thing that we have in real estate. Please let me know if my responses helped in any way, or if there's any more thing you want me to say. Benga. I can't hear you. I know that your mic is unmuted, but I can't hear you.
Okay, I said your response was very great, ma, and I really gained a lot, even within this limited time. You know, anytime I came to your class, there's one thing I always did. One thing I always get there is, you know, when you deliver, there's no how someone will not gain one thing or the other, which you always open your face. So I really appreciate you for that, man. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Benga. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to say something? We have just 1 minute and we can go home. Anybody else want to say something? Okay, so do you want to confirm that everything that we said here today was understood and you got it and is understandable? If that's the case, I want to say thank you all to everyone. Do have a good night. I'll send the quiz in tonight, and then tomorrow we will continue. Ture, I used to see you here, Ture Bolanle, but I haven't really heard you speak. You want to say something?
Not really, not much. Just appreciate you. I'm trying to get along, and then still working on myself.
It's okay. It's like you joined late, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello?
It's okay. It's like you joined late.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I joined late. I think I checked I didn't see any message. I didn't see
no
any.
problem.
So later I check again and I saw.
No problem.
Sorry for
we'll
that.
bring you up to speed, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Good night. See you tomorrow. See you on Wednesday. Good night, everyone.
Good night so much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Good night.
Good
night. Thank you. Good night. Good night, Uche. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Mother.
Yes. Oh, good.
Oh, can I come and give you a hug, Mama?
Good night. Good night, Sembe.